Breaking right now, a single word continues to echo across Jikook fandom spaces in the United States, shaping how fans understand the bond between Jimin and Jungkook. That word is Endgame. Not a rumor, not a leaked detail, but a belief. For many fans, Jikook as Endgame is not about what is proven, but about what feels emotionally inevitable. And this belief has quietly become one of the strongest narratives surrounding Jimin and Jungkook today. In simple terms, when fans say Jikook is Endgame, they are not necessarily claiming a specific outcome. They are expressing confidence that no matter how life unfolds, Jimin and Jungkook will always remain deeply connected. Careers may shift, public dynamics may change, and time may pass, but the emotional importance they hold for each other feels permanent to many fans. That sense of permanence is exactly why the term Endgame resonates so strongly. This belief didn't appear suddenly. It developed slowly, shaped by years of watching Jimin and Jungkook grow together under intense public pressure. Fans noticed how their bond survived different eras, different roles, and different expectations. Even when their interactions became quieter or less visible, many fans felt that the connection itself never disappeared. Instead, it matured, becoming something less performative and more stable. For fans, Endgame doesn't mean constant closeness on screen. In fact, many argue that true Endgame relationships don't require constant proof. They point out that the strongest bonds often exist without explanation. This is why silence or distance doesn't weaken the belief. Instead, it strengthens it. To them, the absence of obvious moments doesn't signal separation, but privacy. The controversy begins when the word endgame is interpreted as exclusivity. Critics argue that labeling Jikook this way can sound limiting, as if it denies other relationships in their lives. But fans who support the narrative often clarify that endgame is not about cutting others out. It's about recognizing a unique emotional role that doesn't disappear just because other connections exist. Endgame, in this sense, means foundational rather than exclusive. Many fans compare this belief to the idea of marriage, not literally, but symbolically. Marriage represents a chosen constant, a sense of emotional home. In the same way, Jikook as endgame represents emotional security. It reassures fans that no matter what happens publicly, there's something steady beneath the surface. This comparison explains why the narrative feels comforting rather than demanding to those who believe in it. What makes this narrative especially powerful is that it doesn't rely on future promises. Fans are not waiting for an announcement or confirmation. Instead, they frame the relationship as already complete in its meeting. Whatever form it takes, whatever name it has, it already fulfills the role of endgame emotionally. This removes the pressure of expectation while preserving belief. Over time, the way fans talk about Jikook has shifted. Early discussions often focused on visible moments, shared laughter, physical closeness, or direct statements. As those moments became less frequent, the narrative evolved. Fans began paying attention to patterns instead of events. They noticed how Jimin and Jungkook seem grounded when near each other, how familiarity shows up even in brief interactions, how their energy appears unchanged despite external shifts. This evolution made the ship more resilient. When a belief is built on moments, it can fade. When it's built on patterns and emotional logic, it adapts. That adaptability is why the endgame narrative has survived for so long. It doesn't break when things change because change is already part of the story. Another reason this belief is so popular lies in how fans relate to it personally. Many fans see their own hopes reflected in Jikook. They want to believe in connections that last beyond circumstances. They want proof that bonds can survive growth, distance, and misunderstanding. Jikook becomes a symbol of that hope. The endgame idea is not just about them, it's about the possibility of lasting connection itself. In US fandom culture especially, storytelling plays a huge role. Fans are familiar with narratives where two characters are destined to remain significant to each other, even if their paths twist and turn. The endgame couple doesn't always end up the same way fans imagine, but their emotional importance never fades. Jikook fits naturally into this framework, making the narrative feel intuitive rather than forced. This is also why the belief persists even when challenged. When critics question it, fans often refine their language instead of abandoning the idea. They emphasize that Endgame doesn't equal ownership or entitlement. It means acceptance. Acceptance that whatever happens, the bond remains meaningful. This reframing allows fans to hold on to the narrative while respecting boundaries. Another key factor is consistency. While many dynamics within the industry shift over time, fans feel that Jimin and Jungkook consistently return to each other emotionally. Not always visibly, not always loudly, but reliably. That reliability is what fuels the sense of inevitability. Fans don't feel like they're waiting for something to happen, they feel like they're watching something continue. The emotional certainty provided by the Endgame narrative also helps fans navigate uncertainty. Military service, solo projects, and evolving public roles create long gaps and unanswered questions. In that environment, believing in an endgame offers stability. It reassures fans that separation doesn't equal loss. It reframes distance as temporary rather than threatening. This belief also shapes how fans interpret content. Lyrics, interviews, and interactions are often viewed through the lens of continuity. Fans aren't searching for new beginnings, they're looking for reminders of something ongoing. Every small detail becomes part of a larger emotional story, not as proof, but as reinforcement. However, fans who support the endgame idea often stress that it is not meant to pressure Jimin or Jungkook. They see it as a personal interpretation rather than a demand. The belief exists within fandom spaces, not as an expectation placed on real people. This distinction is important to them, especially when addressing concerns about boundaries. The endurance of this narrative shows how fandoms use storytelling to create meaning. In a world where fans have limited access and little control, emotional narratives offer a sense of participation. Endgame gives fans a way to feel grounded, to believe that some things are stable even when everything else changes. As conversations around Jikook continue to evolve, the endgame narrative remains one of the most emotionally charged and widely shared perspectives. It is debated, defended, reshaped, and redefined, but rarely abandoned. For many fans, it has become less about what might happen and more about what already feels true. And as long as fans continue to look for emotional stability in the stories they follow, the idea of Jikook as endgame will likely continue to hold its place at the center of fandom discussion, shaping how their bond is understood, felt, and believed. As this discussion moves towards its closing point, one thing becomes clear. The idea of Jikook as endgame has never been about winning an argument or proving a theory. It has always been about meaning. For the fans who believe in it, endgame is a way to describe emotional certainty in an environment that is constantly changing. It offers reassurance that some bonds do not lose their value just because time passes or circumstances shift. The controversy surrounding the term will likely continue. Some will always see it as too exclusive, too romanticized, or too speculative. Others will continue to embrace it as a quiet, personal belief that doesn't demand outcomes, only acknowledges significance. Both perspectives exist because fandom itself is not a single voice. It's a collection of emotions, interpretations, and personal experiences projected onto shared figures. What makes the endgame narrative endure is its flexibility. It doesn't collapse when expectations aren't met because it isn't built on milestones or confirmations. It survives precisely because it accepts uncertainty. Fans who believe in Jikook as endgame aren't waiting for a final scene. They believe the story is already meaningful as it is. In that sense, Endgame becomes less about Jimin and Jungkook specifically, and more about what fans want to believe is possible in the world, that some connections remain important no matter how much life changes. That belief is comforting, grounding, and deeply human. It explains why the narrative feels so strong, even years later. As long as fans continue to look for emotional stability in the stories they follow, the idea of Jikook as endgame will likely continue to hold its place at the center of fandom discussion, shaping how their bond is understood, felt, and believed.